That was excellent for Sandy Woolsey. She had a 9.62 in that same event in the compulsory, so she is improving with every out. Up now for the United States, Wendy Bruce on floor exercise.
Wendy has really come on strong since winning the international mixed pairs back in March. She won that with her partner, and I think it gave her a real boost of confidence. Full twisting double back, perfect landing. Nice amplitude on the leaps. Both she and Brandy Johnson have very similar floor routines, the type of musics they've chosen.
Of course, they're both training with Kevin Brown down in Altamont Springs, Florida. And Kevin really works on power tumbling as well, Kathy.
And it definitely shows off in these passes. Whip over through to double tuck, and she just stays in bounds, saving that 1/10 of a point deduction.
In a way, for the U.S. team, this is the perfect event to start on, because with all that nervous energy, they can use it up in the floor exercise.
Exactly right. And a double twist. It's not as difficult a last pass as, say, the Soviets and Romanians are going to do, but she had good difficulty in the early part of the routine, and the whole routine was clean.
Romanians doing very well, as a matter of fact, on the uneven bars. A moment ago, a score of 9.925 for the Romanians. And right now, it is Eugenia Popa.
It was a nice Ginger at the beginning of the routine, and she just did a reverse hecht. A lot of release moves, a lot of difficulty in this routine. Half in, half out. That's a full twisting double back dismount, and it was done beautifully.
Their scores have been simply brilliant so far. 9.9, 9.9, 9.925, 9.887 by Aurelia Dobre, the lowest of the Romanians. So while the Americans are doing wonderfully well in floor exercise, everybody else is really posting some big numbers early in this rotation. Good job, Wendy.
They certainly are.
Way to go. Wendy Bruce, 9.862. Another excellent score for the Americans on floor exercise. But as good as they're going, they are in there right now with the very best in the world. We have had a 10 on vault by Alicia Dudnik of the Soviet Union, and there is just action going on all over Hans-Martin Schleierhalle, and we'll be back with a lot more of that action after this. 9.755, rather, put up by Yang Bo a moment ago. Silivash on uneven bars just a second ago, waiting for her score. Another brilliant performance.
We have seen some outrageous scores already in rotation 1 and great routines.
It's important to keep in mind that there are 4 events going on, the 4 best teams in the world, all performing brilliantly all at once. It's crazy.
It really is. And you just can't keep up with the high scores.
The Chinese are just excellent on this beam. Compulsory was beautiful. Better than anyone else in the competition. Layout chest roll down. Tiny little wobble there. Preparing for the dismount. Round off, double tuck. Just a slight hop on the landing, a little bobble on the full turn. Other than that, it was very nice. We will have her score in just a moment. We wait for Silivash. There has just been another 10 on the vault by Lashenova. And truly this is Brandy Johnson, her middle tumbling run. She nailed her full in at the opening pass. Just did whip over through the double tuck.
Is it Lashenova?
It's a really good music selection for her. The audience gets into it. They get behind her in this routine. Last tumbling run. Double tuck. Oh. It's a first break for the Americans. It'll be 5/10 of a point deduction for the fall and a 10th going out of bounds. Oh, what a shame. The rest of the routine was just solid as could be.
Very tough break for the Americans, but I'll tell you, Silivash, a 10 on uneven bars. How many is that, Bart? 4, 5?
I think it's 4 to this point. There's been a lot of talk about bringing the level of the scores down, but scores are booming through the roof here.
The problem is the gymnasts move faster than the rule changes do. And that's Brandy on her last tumbling pass. She over-rotates the double back, falls out of bounds. That's 0.6 of a point off.
And on the vault, Bulganskaya of the Soviet Union, second vault, her first a 9-9. By the standards that they've been going, that's not so good.
Round up, full twisting layout. Oh, beautiful. Yurchenko full. Now keep in mind, some of her teammates did double twisting Yurchenkos, which is a more difficult vault, but she did this so clean, there are hardly any deductions there.
And of course, Bulganskaya is the Olympic champion last year on this event.
Brandy Johnson, 9.450 on floor exercise, that despite the fall.
Look at the clean execution of this vault. That is the way the Soviets do everything. So clean, no deductions, perfect form.
It's interesting to note when she sticks, watch her feet, one foot just slightly in front of the other as she's trying to plant that landing. It's a Bulganskaya technique.
This was the first 10 of the night. This by Alicia Dudnik of the Soviet Union. That came in the vault, and it started a row of 10s by the Soviet athletes, by the Romanians, some very fine scores on the vault. Here is yet another one.
This is Lashenova.
All together now, and look at this vault. Oh, full twisting Yurchenko. She lays it out at the end. Arms go out to the side. Great style.
They said it was team competition, didn't we? Lashenova with the 10. So there were 2 10s in the vault by the Soviet Union. Here's a look again.
You can't do this vault any better. And this is what I like. She does the pull, then opens the arms out for the stylization and nails the landing.
Well, that started it. So 2 10s. And then it was Silivash, the Olympic champion, on the uneven bars.
Beautiful Stalder work, and you rarely see that anymore. Right to a front Stalder. Delchev. Stalder again to a full pirouette. She has a nice variety of moves here. Release moves, in-bar work with the Stalders and free hip dismount, and a beautifully stuck landing.
Some extremely high scores from 3 leading teams, the Soviet Union, the Romanians, and China. Soviet Union 49.749. They are still in first place as we take another look at the dismount of Silivash. The Romanians scored 49.637, the Chinese 49.674. By comparison, the United States 49.011. Still plenty more to come from the World Championships here in Stuttgart. We'll have more right after this. 7-1-2 on her first vault. This is her second vault. So the American's doing just fine.
Does a Yurchenko, full twist, hop on the landing a little bit off center.
The Americans did well just to get into the top 4 and wind up with the best in the world here on the last rotation.
It's a dream come true for the Americans to be in this final rotation.
Alicia Dudnik now coming off a 10 on the vault. How about that mount?
That's a tough mount. First time that was done was Michelle Goodwin of the United States back at the World Championship. Beautiful. Oh, caught her foot on the ground there. Lost her rhythm. That's a pretty substantial deduction there. Her release moves aren't as high either.
9.737 for Kim Kelly on her second vault, improving slightly.
And a double tuck dismount. What a shame, coming off a 10 over on the vaulting. She actually had trouble on this event in the compulsories.
Yeah, she had a 9.3 in the compulsories.
Exactly, and after the third event compulsories, she was in a position to take the lead, be the top Soviet, the top gymnast in the compulsories, and she had that mistake on bars.
Christy Henrik in the vault.
Nice vault, tiny bit off center and a little hop on the landing. I think she can better that vault.
I'll tell you what's frustrating about this competition is the U.S. girls look great. 9.7s, 9.75s, they're performing very well, and they're not gaining any ground on anybody.
If anything, they're losing ground. The problem is they're looking great, but it's a relative term when you're dealing with the best in the world.
In fact, they came in about 2 points behind the Chinese after the Chinese performed on the beam, and the U.S. on the floor, they dropped to 2.4 behind the Chinese.
Really trying to stick this vault. Christy always has good form on all the events. She has beautiful toe point.
9.737 was her first vault.
Her teammates call her E.T. for extra tough. She's a real fighter.
She's had a good year. Came on very strong. This is the best shape I've seen her in, and she's been consistently getting better all year.
Chinese struggling right at the moment in floor exercise. 9.037 by Wang Wenjing.
Layout full twist. A little bit better than the other one, I think. I think her coach, Al Fong, will be very happy with that. Good position in the air. Little low on the landing. She had to hop forward slightly.
9.862 was the score for Dudnik on the uneven bars.
Just another look at the vault.
Trying to keep you up to the moment on everything. This is Lashenova coming off a 10 on the vault a moment ago. Natalia Lashenova, the Soviet Union. Score on Henrik's second vault, 9.75, does improve slightly from the first.
Oh, beautiful high reverse hecht. Oh, look at that, way up above the bar. This is what you're looking for in bars. Stalled her work as well. Again, a good combination of skills. Many of the girls have what we call stock routines, all the same, and this isn't. Very different from the others and done exceptionally well.
You're looking at gymnastics that I have to say, from my limited experience, is as good as it gets.
This is pretty darn close.
Lashenova, remember, had a 10 in the vault. And we will see how she does on the uneven bar. She's not going to do a whole lot worse than that. Meanwhile, on the balance beam, Aurelia Dobre has had a 9.95 for Romania.
That's an amazing mount. Round off back handspring, onto the beam, back handspring, 2 layouts following. That's a long pass.
This is Cristina Bontas of Romania, and this again coming on the heels of a 9.95 by Dobre.
Fulfilling all her requirements. She just did her gymnastics acrobatics series, combining gymnastics and acrobatics. Back handspring, layout, step out, back pike. She's done 2 very difficult passes on the balance beam already. Very risky. Now these are the kind of routines that do earn their bonus, but there are several just medium range routines that if they're smart, they can design the routine and still get their bonus, but they don't compare to these routines. That's the problem in our judging system. Maybe they'll have to come up with extra bonus.
So far, a 9.837, a 9.862, and that 9.95 by Aurelia Dobre for Romania. And Lashenova on the uneven bars, whom we saw a moment ago, 9.95.
And dismounts with a round up at handspring, double top dismount.
She liked it. Cristina Bontas. Romanians doing considerably better in the optionals here than they did in compulsories. Meanwhile, we'll take it back to the uneven bars.
That's pretty par for the course. The Soviets have always been probably the strongest in the compulsory.